Welcome back, leather crafters, to our series, How to Hand Sew in Leatherwork. In part 1, we covered how to punch holes for stitching in leather. Now, in part 2, we're going to talk about choosing the right needle and thread for hand sewing. The right combination ensures a strong, long-lasting stitch and a professional finish, so let's dive in. First, let's talk about choosing the right needle. Not all needles are created equally, especially when it comes to sewing leather by hand. Here, we'll talk about some key points to consider. Just to note, we will be going over 3 straight needle options in this video, despite things like S-curve and C-curve needles being available for more intermediate and advanced uses. Starting with the smallest, this is a Glover's needle with an extremely sharp triangular tip. It is used for piercing and does not always require pre-punching. However, the shaft is very thin and can bend easily, so do not use this on thick leathers. Next, we have 2 different sizes of the harness needle. The length, hole size, and shaft width are different between these two and the rest of the line, of which there are many others. But they both have a blunt, not to be confused with dull, tip. These require holes be pre-punched and are the most commonly used, especially with the saddle stitch. The third needle is simply called a stitching needle and comes with a blunt tip, large eye, and thick shaft. Use this with heavy threads that need the large eye and have large stitching holes to accommodate the size of this needle. Now let's talk about thread. The right thread affects both strength and appearance of your stitches. Here are some common types. Waxed polyester thread is the go-to choice for hand sewing projects. It's strong, resistant to moisture, and comes pre-waxed for easy stitching. You can also get it in a variety of different weights, making it easily accessible and usable. Nylon thread is strong and durable, but requires waxing before use, which can be a little bit more work and something a lot of people don't necessarily want to do. Not pictured here is a traditional choice that is linen thread that looks natural but is often waxed for additional strength. Finally, we have cords that are often waxed and braided. These tend to be much thicker because they are braided and are usually used for heavy projects with large stitching holes. Thread size is generally measured in millimeters. For hand stitching, 0.6 to 0.1 is ideal for most projects. But as you can see, this is the same pattern and leather, but has 2 different thread weights. Although these were made with the same brand, one is 0.6 and the other is 1.0. From the description, it would seem like a small difference, but quite clearly it's not. So choosing for function and aesthetics should play a role in your decision. So how do you know what's the best combination for your project? Here are a few tips to try and start. For thick leather goods like belts and bags, try using a number 2 harness needle with a 1 mm waxed polyester thread. For wallets and small accessories, try a number 4 harness needle with a 0.6 waxed polyester thread. And for decorative stitching, consider trying linen thread for a classic natural look. Once you have a baseline, start by testing a few different brands and weights of threads to find the one you prefer. Then, make swatches with different chisels, pricking irons, or hole punches. Refer to our last video in the series for more information about these tools. You will be able to refer back to your pre-made swatches to reference exactly what combination looks best for each project. These swatches can not only help you recall what you do like, but also what you don't like. So hold on to them to prevent future mistakes. That's it for part 2 of our series on hand sewing leather. Now that you've got the right tools, you're ready to start stitching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and leave any questions in the comments. We'll see you in part 3 where we discuss different commonly used stitches. Until then, and as always, happy crafting!